All right.
I assume music is playing and I'm not just bumping.
Yeah. Music was playing. Long time no see, everybody. We are back. We didn't really post anything for this. We didn't, prepare as good streamers do, but we're here. We're back.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
We're actually here, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think our last episode actually published in like April of this year. So, like I said, it's been a hot minute, and
the BJ interview, I think.
Yeah. Well, we did one after that, but when we live streamed it, all the audio was fucked up and it didn't go through. And then we had it recorded, and I was in the process of editing the recording, but then I would get it all done and I would be fixing up the intro, and the program I was using kept crashing. And so I just said, fuck it, and didn't do it. And that was kind of how it got left. And that was how the
technology, man.
Yeah, that was how our technical last episode went. We streamed it with no audio, and we recorded it and never let it release. So I would say we both needed a little bit of a break. I don't know, any people who've been watching the stream long enough, you can tell I'm in a different location. I did move. I have my own dedicated room now, which is pretty cool. It's not my own, but it is dedicated to computer things and office related things, and also cats. It's dedicated to cats. So, and if anyone's following Matt pretty frequently, Matt took a bit of a break from streaming as well. I think we were both needed it, unknowingly needed a little bit of time away.
It was tough.
Yeah, so we took a bit of time off. Like I said, wasn't planned, but here we are. We're back. Figured we'd jump back in, get going again. Not that there's been a clamoring or people crying out for our content, but we like doing this. So
thousands of people knocking on my door.
Millions of people in the arena.
Just shouting.
Kicking down our doors, wanting us back. One way or another, we like what we do. We like doing this in general. So we always say it, even if there's nobody watching, we'd still be doing it. And yeah, so here we are. We may be catching some people for the very first time, considering we haven't streamed or done anything in like 3 months. If you are brand new, my name's Josh, aka Jay Frosty, and with me below on the stream is my brother Matt, aka Technique, and we are the W Key Podcast. We put together this little show. We try to do it every other week. Obviously, if you heard the intro here recently, that hasn't been the case. But yeah, we try to do it every other week, bring you a bit of gaming info. We're kind of expanding. We're going to be trying out a new show format today. Hopefully, kind of restructuring. Yeah, before it was just us kind of ranting, going on, finding topics and ranting on it. So we did bring you info, but it wasn't necessarily structured in any way.
It's just stuff.
Yeah.
Thrown at you, and that's it.
We've got a couple different segments, a little bit more structure. So I think that'll be kind of cool. And yeah, so like I said, we are W Key Podcast. We're here to bring you some info, and not just gaming anymore. We've kind of expanded a little bit into like comics, the movies, tech stuff as well. But obviously our passion is gaming, so we tend to still strive to bring you some info about gaming that is useful and stuff you might not know about. And yeah, we'll get it started the way we always have, with all the boring stuff. If you like what what we're doing, well, I guess if you like what you're doing, you can also rate, subscribe, but if you like what we're doing, if you're listening, first time listener or a returning listener, viewer, someone who's been eagerly awaiting a return, rating and reviewing on podchaser.com is really helpful. Subbing, liking, sharing, on all the social platforms, great if you do it, great if you don't. If you're just here to chill with us and have a good time, that's also fine. But those things do help. Word of mouth is really helpful as well. So if somebody who might like what we're doing, let them know, family member, friend, whatever it might be, pass us along, let them know about us, and bring them into the family, if you, I guess, It's a family to an extent,
The W fam.
as dysfunctional as most families are.
Still Nick Merckx, M fam to W
Yeah,
fam.
there we go. I bet we won't get any sort of copyright issues at all. But yeah, so we'll hop right in. So the new format. One of the things we're going to try to do. Before we had just a lot of topics. So I think, and Matt suggested this, and I liked the idea. So first segment that we're going to introduce, and something that'll be more regular moving forward, we kind of distill it down to the big three. So these are 3 topics that we think you should be aware of in the gaming or I don't know, you can even at this point you can say geek world, nerd, it's a little bit of everything. We call it the big 3.
Think is cool and awesome.
Yeah, and because
a little bit of everything. We go tech. You can do movies. Yep. Anything that's kind of like big and popping it can find their way into this.
And it's our podcast, so we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want to do.
I can do what I
want. So, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Loki. So Loki just wrapped up last week, last week. I've lost track of all of my days.
I mean, yeah, same. Most of my days are like based off what gets released on what days.
I know.
And I'm out of things to watch now, kind of. So I don't know what day it is.
It's pretty rugged. But so Loki finally ended. How?
Spoilers if anyone hasn't seen Loki yet.
For sure. If you haven't seen it, run far away. How would you compare it to the other 2 so far? In the grand scheme of the 3 Disney Plus series, where do you put it?
I don't know. I really did like it, but I think I'd put it 2. I really think Falcon Winter Soldier is number 1 for me still. I really like that the best. I think out of all 3 of them. I'd go Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, WandaVision is what I'm thinking right now.
I think it from pure enjoyment factor, I'm kind of with you on that. I think for impact of the show on the MCU as a whole, Loki's got to be.
That's a whole, yeah, that's a whole.
Through a little, I set you up to fail.
If you're the person who wanted these shows to prepare for the next phase and prepare for the movies, then Loki is just like nuking the other 2 out of the water with what it's setting up.
Yeah. So on that note, basically, again, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's good. Come back, listen to this recorded, whatever you got to do. Kang the Conqueror has officially been introduced into the MCU along with the official multiverse. So the multiverse has been mentioned a couple of times. One in Doctor Strange. They mentioned it in Peter Parker, Far From Home. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Far From Home. So it's been mentioned in a few spots. It's just never truly been acknowledged or actually shown to be real until now.
Yeah, cause even Far From Home, they try to make you think it's a farce because they make you think Mysterio's from a different universe, but he's not. So they're like, "Oh, we got you." But
exactly. So
it's official now.
But the Kang the Conqueror reveal wasn't as satisfying as some people might want it to be because it wasn't truly Kang the Conqueror. This version of Kang,
he's very nice.
Yeah, this version of Kang was more like the Immortus character, which is Nathaniel Richards, which is also Iron Lad, which is also Reed Richards' father. So Nathaniel Richards is Kang the Conqueror, but in different timelines. Because there's an infinite amount of them because of the multiverse. In some timelines, he doesn't go all psychopathic, want to conquer every single timeline. He actually is rather good. So the Immortus, Nathaniel Richards, like I said, Iron Lad, they're all versions of the same Kang, quote unquote. So the Kang we have seen is not Kang the Conqueror technically yet.
He warns about the ones that are on their way.
He does, exactly.
D-bags.
And so Sylvie's lust for personal vengeance and inability, which I think was a great, I think there was great job put into Loki's character, his actual development. I think he did a really good job. I think they developed him really well. I think it's hilarious that the only person you could ever love is himself. I thought that was a fantastic twist, but in and of itself, it was he still actually genuinely cared for her. And then Sylvie's the one that couldn't push past her her quest for vengeance, and she causes basically the creation of the multiverse by
Mhm.
killing Kang, or Mortis, however you want to look at him. He is technically Kang the Conqueror. By killing Kang, basically he was keeping the multiverse at bay, or he was keeping all the timelines into the one sacred timeline.
Yeah.
And now that he is dead and no one has taken over, continuing, because that's what he wanted Sylvie and Loki to do, continue to maintain the sacred timeline. All these other branches are showing up out of nowhere. Basically, it went from one circle to like this giant web around the Citadel. And so the Kangs are coming, to put it lightly. So, it opens up a lot of things. It opens up multiple Kangs for multiple series and multiple movies. So, we may get 6 or 7 different Kangs by the time we get to Secret Wars, because
I was
that's
just thinking, because like, isn't Kang supposed to be like the bad guy of Ant-Man 3? So I was like
he's going to
thinking
be in it. Yes. Yeah.
in it.
He's
I
'cause
just
he
wonder if
was
they're gonna like
the
have him
actor.
be done in. Yeah, I was wondering if they're gonna have him be done in that movie, Mike. But
And they
then
might
what you just
that
said makes a
particular
great
Kang.
point.
Yeah.
You can have him keep coming. Like, oh,
Yep.
here's one. We beat him. Well, here comes another one. Now we gotta do, and just
Yep.
keep like throwing them out there until you take care of all of them.
Exactly. And so we may see various different versions of Kang in different movies and different series. So it opens that door up, but from a casual fan standpoint, it makes it a little bit more confusing too, because I would say, watching this with Kat, my girlfriend, this was her least favorite one, simply because it was harder to understand because of like the multiverse and the different characters and like who is Kang, like what do they do? Like, I don't understand what all the multiverse is and this and that, because like, the people who are probably, strictly just movie watchers, fans of Marvel from the movies, will probably not follow quite as well the things they're probably going to be doing moving
You
forward.
might have to bring some notepads with you whenever you go to the
You're
new
gonna-
Marvel
yeah.
movies. You might have to draw some diagrams here, because I mean, obviously Thanos is straightforward. I want these stones. I want to kill half the people.
Yeah,
Now you have the multiverse, and God knows what's going to go on.
It's entirely possible. So it's cool for that. It's cool for that reason. Like, there's multiple different Kangs. They can do a lot of different things. So there's multiple different villains. But then, like I said, you can get into Iron Lad, who is Nathaniel Richards, who again is also Kang, who started the Young Avengers. So they're setting up the Young Avengers as well. Like in bringing Kang in, they kind of de facto set up the plan for the Young Avengers. Like I think the Young Avengers is a plan. It's going to happen.
Seems like it. He got Hawkeye training his daughter, and
yep.
I guess
I
don't know.
End of Infinity War, technically, I guess, maybe, and then obviously Endgame. He was doing it at the beginning of Endgame. So
yeah, I don't know if like Yelena is supposed to be.
So that's no. So Yelena's actually
Widow,
going to be probably part of either Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. Because that what's her face? Jesus, I forget her name. We talked about her for Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Falcon. Whatever.
All I know is the
Julian
Dreyfus.
Julian Dreyfus. Her character is basically now popping up in that show, popping up in Black Widow. For anyone who hasn't seen Black Widow, that's also the end credit. So spoiler that for you as well. She's basically, it's a lot of heavy speculation that she's putting together either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. So basically like MCU's version of Suicide Squad, more or less. And the Dark Avengers are Avengers, are bad guys that pretend to be Avengers, and then Norman Osborn eventually leads them and convinces the world that they're the actual like Avengers. They're the good guys. So either way, it's like an anti-hero team essentially. So there's different, they're setting up a few different teams, Young Avengers and yada yada yada, different villains. But they're also diving headfirst into multiple different universes, kind of full on, because the next series that's coming out, the Marvel What If, the animated series, a lot of people just thought it was like, a fun way to do like, what if this happened instead of this? But it's actually considered canon, and it's pretty much going to tie into the multiverse in the sense that like all the what if scenarios that they go through are different universes.
Other outcomes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, I definitely thought it was like hey, let's just fuck around and
that's what a lot of people thought.
Random things that like, random fan service, I guess you'd say. But to know that it's like going to be canon, then maybe they could show something cool that could play in the future stuff. But
Yeah.
that's nice to know.
And basically, the other big thing, really, for the immediate future is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah,
There's been a
that's
lot
like
of tease.
biggest thing for me.
Yeah, there's been a lot of tease that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to be part of it. They've kept
Got
denying
to.
it. They've
It
kept denying
has
it.
to happen.
But the guy who played Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire movies and Jamie Foxx who played Electro from
Yep.
the Andrew Garfield movies
Yep.
are both confirmed to be in the movie. And
Yep.
so the only way that is possible is if a multiverse situation is playing out. So at this
They're
point
two
in time,
bad guys from both
Yeah.
different movies. So if
exactly.
you bring the bad guys in, you gotta bring the good guys. Like, hey,
Well, one would think,
he's mine. I'll take him back.
yeah, one would think, and so it's pretty, and they haven't dropped a trailer yet, and and it's coming out in December, so there's no trailer yet. So a lot of people are speculating that obviously they were waiting for the end of Loki to confirm the multiverse, to then drop a trailer to have both Toby and Andrew in it because the multiverse explains that. So they're essentially going. They're essentially going into the Spider-Verse live action, the Spider-Verse to an extent. I think it's. They've denied it, denied it, but I think that's probably going to be the case.
You can only deny so much, but like a lot of people thought it was happening. And I feel like the multiverse being born is just like the final nail in the coffin. Like there's no way they're not gonna try to do the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse type of thing. Like you'd be an idiot to miss out on this opportunity, especially because I mean like the
Spider-Man
animated movie.
Well,
The Spider-Verse did so good. Like okay, well, let's take that and let's make it live action.
Spider-Man in general is one of the in all types of media, Spider-Man is one of Marvel's most popular characters. So
And you could get like so much out of it. I feel like I mean you're looking to keep Marvel movies going. You could have an entire phase where it's just like a Spider-Man phase. Like this phase is all Spider-Man doing stuff throughout the multiverse. Like there's so much content there. I feel like
there's a lot of that in the Spider-Verse is very real in the comics and like the old shows from the 90s.
Yeah.
So there's a lot they could do with it. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So, that's the big happenings with Loki. It was a good show, from just pure enjoyment. Like I think Matt and I are both on kind of agreement that probably second to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but for its impact on the MCU as a whole, I think out of the 3 series we've got so far, Loki is by far number 1 for like the impact that it has on the MCU as a whole.
Yeah, it's basically like the launch point for the whole next phase, I feel like.
Yep. I mean, because there's No Way Home and then in Multiverse of Madness, so 2 movies that are probably going to tie heavily into the multiverse. So, perfect. So the next item on the list of the big 3, we've been gone for 3-4 months. But you'd be fooling yourself if you thought you'd get out of a WK episode without us talking a little Warzone. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Cheating in Warzone.
I mean, it's a dumpster fire right now, so
oh my god, it's unreal. Honestly, the guns are the. I don't want to tangent too much.
You're most recent reading balance, my mind, though. Yeah, I will agree. I know where you're going with this.
The most recent balance pass, the season 4 Reloaded update that happened last week, actually made a lot of the guns there's a lot of usable things. They raised the TTK as well, which is good. So it makes it a little bit more skillful. You have more time to duck and get cover. The guns are a little more balanced. There's a little bit more separation between ARs and SMGs and snipers. Like you actually have a little bit of a trade-off in all those different classes. Before it's like you had an M4 or an XM4, and you did everything you wanted to. It was a fucking long range, it was a close range, it was an SMG. So without getting too far into that part of it, I think they've done a good job with the weapons. Like the game, I feel like is in a better place playability wise than it's been in the last 5 or 6 months. But they have still not done anything about cheaters. And I would say that I run into cheater when I play, and granted I only play, Friday, Saturday nights, maybe Thursday nights as well, 3-4 hours a night. And I swear to God, we probably run into cheaters maybe 2/3 of the games we play. Yeah, like either people blatantly aimbotting or like pretty blatant wall hacks, like people being able to wall.
You can definitely tell that it's risen. I feel like in the past couple months. Just to carry on what you're saying, I was thinking that early today. The game itself is in probably one of its better states, but it's just the cheating has made it just so goddamn bad
Yeah.
because there ain't nothing you can do about that. So it's just really weird that like the game itself was killing itself with like DMR zone or AUG zone or all this.
Yeah.
Like the guns are making the game unplayable. Now it's like, hey, we got this playable game, but it's just outside forces of people being little shits and
I mean,
downloading cheats and stuff like that.
and they have yet to obviously install anti-cheat. They've had some ban waves,
Yeah,
another one
but
recently,
yeah, they're out
but
here saying,
still,
"Ooh,
like,
ban waves," like whoop de doo.
it's a
Not
drop in
gonna
the
do
bucket,
anything.
in all reality. And then it's a free to play game with no anti-cheat, and people are going to make accounts left and right, hand over fist. And so that's the big thing. But the funny thing that I think was kind of unexpected is the fact that cheating is kind of ruining the game in other ways. So you have accounts or people, YouTube channels like Bad Boy Beeman, who is an ex-cheater. I put the air quotes around X because, what's that saying? With romantic relationships, they say once a cheater, always a cheater. So how can you say you're an ex-cheater? Does he play anymore? I don't know. But anyways, he's a previous
Hey, he's a cheater.
cheater.
Previously caught cheater.
Yeah,
so
previously
I guess.
caught cheater, currently now exposing Warzone pros and prolific streamers of cheating with super solid evidence ripped from the internet from a super compressed Twitch stream that just gives total proof beyond any shadow of a doubt that people are cheating. And so you have him. He's the biggest one right now. He's called out people like Swag, ZLaner, Mutex as of late for all cheating.
Mhm.
And I think it's hilarious, but at the same time, like his following is very aggressive. Like he has people that believe everything he says to a T, and they'll go into these people's streams and they'll berate them and they'll give them shit in there. I mean, he's essentially like using their content against them to defile their name, like defamation of character, essentially. Like I almost feel like they could sue
It's freaking wild. Yeah.
because he's claiming, he's like I said, he's taking their own content to turn it back onto them and saying that they're cheating with these accusations, and he's making money off it, and it's created.
That's the biggest problem is
Oh
like
yeah,
he's like got a career off this
yep,
now, taking people's content. Like he didn't do anything. He's just taking stuff's content. Like, yeah, it's cheating.
yeah,
Push it. People just gobble that crap up. But I mean, I guess he's just like caught in this perfect storm because like there's so many people out there who are either like they've just seen so many cheaters that they're
yeah.
just got to that certain point where they just believe anyone who's really good at the game is cheating. So like everyone's just gonna flock to them because they're just so hurt by the game by now.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's no anti-cheat to prove one way or another definitively.
and people are
yes
just
or
so
no.
torn down that like they're like
Yep.
he just did it at the perfect time. Like beginning of Warzone, no one's gonna give this guy time of day. Where we are now, they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, they're
Yeah.
cheating because I've just seen it so often that why the hell not? Like why wouldn't they cheat? And it's just
And
it's tough.
there's a lot of players that being shown that they're bad at the game is a hard pill to swallow too. So like they see these people that are got like 5.0. I mean, ZLaner's got like a 9.6 fucking KD, I think. So it's like seeing people have like a 5+ KD. Like they're like, no
one can
I'm the
that,
best
yeah.
at this game. There's no way that's possible. And they're sitting there with like a 0.8 KD, and they're like, I'm the best Warzone player ever.
Yep.
And so it's
there's
causing
plenty of people who just can't believe that people
Yeah.
are actually that good. And it's like, I mean, you think about it, these guys are pros. It's like watching LeBron James play basketball. Like,
yeah.
I'm so far away from that man, but I'm like, oh, I almost run onto the court, but like, he's cheating.
Yep.
He's cheating somehow. Like testing for steroids. It's just these guys are professionals.
And it's just created this super toxic environment outside of the game. So the game itself is like super toxic and everyone hates it because of the cheating. And then that cheating effect has also turned the external environment around the game super toxic. I mean, so the most recent person he called out was Mutex. Mutex is an ex-COD pro, has played for he called out actually Tommy recently too. I forgot about that. Both players, both Tommy, 100 Thieves Tommy, and Mutex are ex-COD pros who played against the best of the best in Call of Duty players for like the last 10 years and now play Warzone. Both of them are controller players, so obviously it's, he's using a Cronus, or he's got wall hacks or whatever. But like, and so it's just created this like situation where like people going to stream. Mutex spent an hour on his stream showing like his PC and his controller and like unplugging and plugging in his controller, showing it on the screen saying like Call of Duty, showing Call of Duty saying, oh, controller disconnected, reconnect. And then showing like tracing the cable, showing that the cable was directly connected from his controller to his PC, then unplugging it at his PC and it doing the same thing saying, oh, reconnect your controller, and then like showed his streaming PC's desktop, and people were like, "Oh, why do you have 3 Spotify programs? Open the other 2." And he was like, "Bro, they're fucking pictures." Like he had thumbnails of pictures, like because back obviously you would know you're a streamer when you put things onto your stream, like overlays. A lot of times you clip pictures and you save them on your desktop as a picture, and that's what it looks like. So people are like, "There's 3 Spotify programs. Like one of them's a cheat program," and he also, I mean, to his I don't want to say discredit, but he sort of dug himself a hole, because the whole reason part of it started was because in a quick clip of his streaming PC, he showed his desktop in a previous stream, and he had the Cronus Pro application on his desktop.
Yeah, but wasn't it on a streaming PC?
It was on a streaming PC, yes. But pros used to use the Cronus. It was initially created for pros to use at LANs because there was too much Bluetooth interference that a Bluetooth controller, you'd have too much input lag and too much interference. So people would use the Cronus because you could put it into tournament mode and it would erase any cheats. It wouldn't allow any cheats to be present in the first place, and it was a wired connection. It would kill the input lag down to 0. So that's why people used it, but no one's willing to accept that, and everyone's like, he had nothing loaded onto it or whatever. And then he was like, and then when they opened it up though, people were like, yeah, but it was last updated in March, so obviously you're using it. And then he was like, no, like fucking Windows, like,
hey, I just practice auto updates.
I was gonna say, I love the amount of
Pro. Yep. And they had to use it.
I just love the amount of fucking idiots that are on the internet. Like yes, you're watching streams on a computer, but you literally have no idea how to operate a computer and no idea what involves anything. No idea what anything involves actually building, using, or
folks out there.
running.
If this thing was on his streaming PC, you have 2 PCs. He has a gaming PC and a streaming PC. His controller is gonna be plugged into his gaming PC. So if it's on his streaming PC, he's not using the application. He's not plugging his controller into his streaming PC. He's plugging into his gaming PC.
Yeah. So I know. Big brain pog.
I just don't know why they're giving this guy a time of day, like Bad Boy Beams made. Like they're going so out of their way to prove they're innocent. It's just like,
I mean, because the people,
wouldn't you just think, like, just don't fucking bring attention to it? And
the people keep flooding their streams saying they're liars.
Well,
they're hackers.
Tell the mods to pull up their freaking pants, put their suspenders on, and get the bands ready to go, and just get them all out.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so basically, how it's kind of ended recently, not ended, but how it's been left recently. The most recent thing, obviously, there was the 100 Thieves Tommy thing, but Mutex streamed with 5 cameras. He streamed with a face cam,
so much ridiculous shit,
a hand cam under his desk because that's where his controller is. There was a camera from way far back, basically probably where my bookcase was, showing his like three monitors. There was a camera more over here to like the left of him that showed his 3 monitors up close, and then there was a camera basically on his right side, looking under his desk, also looking at his PC at the same time, so like people could see all the wires and see his hand from a different angle, because people were thinking that like his video where he was unplugging and plugging the controller like was all pre-recorded and like all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, like this, like I enjoy skepticism. Like, be skeptical of things, like don't take things for face value. But these fucking idiots are way too skeptical, and they're they're dumb. They've crossed over from being inquisitive and you know, and a bit skeptical into just being flat out idiots in my
Yeah, they're
opinion.
dumb and following blind. And even like Z-Laner's done like hour
Yeah,
long
two,
videos debunking all this
three, I
stuff.
think
Yeah.
actually.
You know how long it takes, how much content, how long it takes to edit that crap? That's a lot of work. I mean, I know he's not editing it, but his editing team is doing a lot of work
Yeah.
to put the stuff out there. And then Z even like offered like the best
Oh
way
yeah.
to fix all this is to he offered Bad Boy to come to to his
A central
hometown,
location. Yeah.
set up a location, be like you play, you suck ass, and I'll play and I'll fry, and you can see
Yeah.
that I'm just good, and that's like,
And if I
you're
win,
just
you know, if I
dude,
prove you, delete
yeah,
delete your channel. But
that's
he'll never
hilarious.
take it up because he knows.
Oh
I mean, he knows.
yeah, like if he truly believed that they were cheating, he'd do it instantly, but he obviously doesn't, and he's not going to. But I'm curious what excuse he's going to give to not do this. But it's like
See, that's the thing.
if
He
you
has
think
the
it's
luxury.
happening,
He
just
has
do
the
it.
luxury of not responding and not feeding into them, whereas like they don't really have that because they've got so many mobs coming at them, calling them cheaters and frauds that they sort of have to try to do everything they can to disprove his
Yeah.
comments. Whereas he's the one that sicked everyone out there, and he can basically, you know, if they attack him, he just whatever, he sits there because he thinks he's in an ivory tower, like untouchable, like, and he's right about everything. So it's like, so yeah, it's a horrible situation because yeah, the game itself is plagued with cheaters, and then obviously the environment outside the game is just super toxic now with these exposing cheaters YouTube accounts, like I said, namely Bad Boy Beam.
I say
So
the game itself used just to be the problem. Now it's going like
yep,
to the game, to the community, to the people outside, which is
and I'm telling you
not good.
what,
I mean, I don't want to say it's the beginning of the end because there's still so much to this
yeah,
game. There's so many people playing this game, but like this is how this kind of stuff starts. You just get a toxic community. No one wants to be a part of it. No one wants to see it,
mm-hmm.
and something new comes out, Battlefield, Halo, and
Yeah,
it's see you later, bud.
I'm hoping to fucking Christ. Um, Yeah, I mean they need to get on their guns and start making some changes because even if Battlefield comes out without a BR but is just better in general, like plays better, has better mechanics, or and like looks good, like I mean I feel like they'd lose a whole bunch of people just to that, and with the promise of a BR coming, you know what I mean? Like because they said it's gonna release a BR is gonna release like
Yeah.
3 months after the initial release of the game itself. So yeah, I mean I feel like fucking Ravens got to get on their horses and start making some changes. I almost feel like they have to do a Fortnite thing and just shut down for fucking a week, redo the whole source code, you know, because if and put in it, bake an anti-cheat into it and release, you know, Warzone V2, you know, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, because like that's the only way I feel like that they're gonna nip this problem in the bud. So
And then a new map. So yeah, they got
yeah,
affect a lot of people getting bored. But yeah, it's going to require a big overhaul, I think, and it doesn't seem like they're ready to do that yet. They
doesn't look
haven't-
good for sure.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. And the final number 3 topic in the big 3 that we think you should know about, GPU prices. They are falling. But should you run out and buy a 3070 if you have one, if you can find one? I'd still say no. You know, prices are falling because the crypto's kind of crashing. So there's that happening, but also Nvidia's
No more
releasing
Dogecoin to the moon. is what
yeah,
you're telling me?
basically, yeah, and stonks, you know, you're out of the crypto and you're back into stonks. You got to get back into the stonks, you know. So crypto's kind of crashing. So that's killing a lot of miners. A lot of miners are giving up their cards because crypto's falling. Nvidia is taking some more serious steps to limiting miners by releasing cards now. You know, so they had the initial 30 series run, and now they're, you know, kind of revamping, and everything coming off the line from now on also have additional BIOS fail safes called light hash rate that basically cut the hash rate of the cards in half so that they don't function all that well for crypto, but obviously it doesn't impact their gaming capabilities.
Better not, goddamn it.
Yeah. Well, you got yours, so you don't really care. And so all those things have led to a fall in the primary market, like Newegg, Best Buy, from the actual primary sellers, but it's caused a bigger crash in prices in the secondhand market, eBay, Letga, or OfferUp, wherever you find them secondhand from the sellers, things like that. Like I said, though, should you run out and buy a 3070, for example? No, because prices, even though they've dropped, they're still probably at about 153, maybe to 200% higher. So the highest we ever hit was they were 350, 400% higher than what they normally were, MSRP. So they're still higher, and there's still a shortage. So it's still really hard. Stock is tough, and you have to basically follow a Discord bot or whatever to get you notifications when things are in stock at Best Buy and Amazon and Newegg and stuff like that. But prices are still going to be higher there. And then if you go to the secondhand market, you can find better prices there. But same idea, they fly off the shelves like crazy there, and you're still seeing plenty of 3070s and 3060s even for sale for $900 to $1,000 on OfferUp and stuff like that, and even Amazon and Newegg.
Put mine online. I could use quick $1,000.
I know, right?
I'll go back to that 1070 for $1,000.
Yeah. So
DM me your offers, boys and girls.
Yep, send him. He's lightly used 3070.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the time to it's getting better, and I know there's a lot of people out there hoping to Christ that the tech shortages stop and the prices equalize a little bit more, and it's slowly happening, but it's still not a good time to buy PC parts.
We knew this. I'm pretty sure a episode way back in the day, we talked about shortage for this and CPUs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are CPUs even still in shortage, or
not quite?
Those are a little bit better.
Yeah,
looks like.
It's better. It's better for CPUs.
Tech shortage like this, they said it was going to continue into second, third quarter of 2021 anyways. So
yeah,
none of this is should surprise some people. It's been told that this is going to continue to happen, but it's still unfortunate that it's been when did the 30 series release?
It's been over
a year.
Yeah, I believe so.
I remember when they dropped and that crap just flew off shelves. But it's unfortunate that it's been a year and some people are still shit out of luck with. I mean, knock on wood. I should have bought a lotto ticket that day. I got so lucky. I was just legit. Well, I did a daily scan of apps, and I went on the Best Buy. Let's check, and they're in stock. I was like, oh, okay.
I was right there with you. I had one in stock, 6 or 7 months ago, and I was like, should I buy it? I don't know if I should do it. I didn't end up doing it, and here we are. Long story short, prices are falling for GPUs especially, but still, hold off.
Price going down, but the supply just isn't there yet either. Still working on that.
Perfect. So that wraps up the big three. Like I said, 3 things we think you guys should be aware of. The next portion of our newly formatted show is what we like to call Tech Talk. Obviously Matt's name is Technique, so it's a little play on words there. But it's also a segment we want to implement where maybe you have some tech problems, and we've run into them too. I mean, Matt's a streamer, so he's got a pretty good handle on a lot of different tech problems.
I've seen it all out here.
Or we talk about new tech in general, whether it's for streaming or for not streaming, things that are just semi interesting in the gaming computer world. So with that being said, Matt does have a little lesson to hit you guys with, and then I've actually got a little something too.
All right, mine is purely recycled. I put this information on my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagram reel. I put it basically everywhere, but I feel like it's a piece of information that I want to put out as much as possible, because when I ran into this issue, I struggled to find any help. It's not really out there a lot. It's not talked about a lot. So I'm going to talk about, if your cam link, if you have a nice Elgato cam link and you're trying to connect your DSLR or mirrorless camera to it, so you can use Josh and I right now, we're using Sony's A6000s for our webcams. You need either a capture card, or a cam link is basically just a miniature capture card that Elgato put out. When I first got it, wicked pumped, wicked excited, plugged it in, it froze nonstop every 7 minutes. It just freeze, had to restart it, freeze, have to restart it, freeze, have to restart it. Like I said, it took a while to figure out what was going on. Did a lot of research, and I finally came across a fix that worked. So I'm just kind of passing the torch along of what to do to fix it. Basically, all you do is you can download a desktop application. It's called the minimize it with like the 4K capture utility.
Yeah,
Hold on,
4K
let me
capture
see real quick.
utility.
Yep, 4K capture utility. Boot that up. Go to top right hand corner, little cog wheel. It says settings. Hold control on your keyboard. Left click it. I don't know why you need to hold control, but it opens up like another different little section. Hold control. Click that little cog wheel. Um, actually, I don't know what the tab's called. Give me 2 seconds. Bad host. Cogwheel. All right, so hold control, left click, device. At the bottom, it should say USB transfer mode. It comes default at bulk.
You
Um,
froze.
I did. Oh,
Your
because I
camera
turned
did.
on the
Yeah,
yeah, I turned on the thing.
yeah.
That's why. Yes. 2 seconds. I wonder if I just close the video, boot it back up. Oh god, there's my wife's picture. She takes. All right. Hey, there we go. All right. So, where was I? Yes. Application open.
Oh,
Hold
actually, hold
control.
on. I have the 4K capture on my computer, so maybe I can go along with you and I can screen grab it.
Oh no, it's probably gonna freeze it for you. Oh, you go. No
Oh,
signal.
yeah, shows my
Hello,
dog.
Jackson.
So you have the cog wheel. Oh, here, ready? Josh Main. Oh yeah, no, it's just capturing. OBS. I think it's scene 2. Yes. So look at this. So you can see my screen here. So you're looking right, Matt. You're up here in this cog wheel up here in the top. Open preferences.
Hold control. Left click on that bad boy. That doesn't work. So hopefully it
Left
does.
click on that. Look at there. You get device.
Yeah. Go over to device. Should be transfer mode or something like that.
Oh
Oh yeah. No.
so
See,
mine a little
it
different,
doesn't.
but it would be here. Yes.
Yeah. It sometimes. Oh, because you have an HD60 Pro.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
using
if
I'm using an
you run that
HD60 Pro, not a Cam Link.
Gotcha. Yeah, so at the bottom where Josh is looking, there's a mode that says USB transfer. It comes default at bulk. You need to change that to isochronous. Basically, what I've gathered from it, bulk it sends as much information as humanly possible to your computer, and I assume like USB ports just can't take it. Isochronous will send a dedicated number, like just the number that's enough to make your camera work, so your computer doesn't freeze. And that's it, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
I assume I guess just a little debate. If is that just like because if you bought like a badass motherboard, could you run bulk? Like, is it my motherboard can't handle the feed that's coming in?
I don't know enough. I don't know enough to say one way, but it's possible. You know, if you had one of the higher end motherboards, like you know, like a fucking Asus like Hero 5 or whatever the whatever the $400 motherboards are, you know, their USB buses might have more bandwidth, and able to handle things like that. So that's entirely possible that is also a case.
I mean, I also just have so many things plugged into because like keyboard, Stream Deck, XLR. I mean, obviously, if I dwindled it down, I could maybe make it work. But I think, and my motherboard, I don't say it's not the cheapest. Like, you know, it's not cheap, it's not expensive. I just went with a good combo when I changed my motherboard, my processor over.
Yeah.
But I would assume that, you know, buying a baller motherboard is also a fix if you want to go that route.
And it's entirely possible too. So, cool. So that hopefully that helps some people out.
If you want to see it all done too, like with a screen grab, since that didn't work too much, you can go my YouTube. I have a YouTube video up for it, so you can see everything. And yeah,
perfect. So my portion of Tech Talk with WKey Podcast. So Matt was just talking about. It's also Elgato related. So this is not necessarily a tech fix or anything like this. This is just a new tech product that's coming out. So for anyone who is kind of familiar or up to date with Elgato releases, they just announced and released the Wave XLR. So we talked about it. I think we talked about it. We talked about the Wave 3 mic back when that first came out. So that was a USB condenser mic from Elgato that was a stream, you know, obviously targeted at streamers. And it came with a great piece of software called Wavelink. And so the mic was good, but the software was the selling point, I think, for a lot of people. And the software essentially is a GoXLR competitor but on your computer. So there's some people, who are going to like the faders and the physical buttons that the Go XLR and the Go XLR Mini provides. And if you're that type of person, then you're not really going to be interested in this Wave XLR either. But with the Wave XLR, it essentially gives you the ability to use an XLR mic with that Wave application, that WaveLink application. So you plug your XLR mic into the Go XLR Wave that sits on your desk. There's a big ass button right on the front, and it does a lot of the same things that the Wave 3 does. You can adjust your mic volume, your headphone volume, and your mix. So most people use it and they'll monitor themselves. I know and I don't monitor. I can't hear myself talk when I'm talking, or
Yeah, I
else
don't know how they
I
pull
lose
that
train
off.
of. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. I'm just stuck listening to myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
what was I saying? Sorry.
Exactly. And so like I would never use it to monitor, but you have that functionality. And then obviously, like I said, it brings it into the Wave Link app, and you can then have basically a digital version of the Go XLR based. You have the mixing. You can have each different program and mix it properly. So it's pretty cool. There's a couple big things that it's sort of lacking. It doesn't have a line out function. It has or it doesn't have a line in functionality rather. So it's got your headphones and everything like that, but it has no line in function. So dual streaming PC setups will be a little bit tough with the Wave XLR.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
I was about to ask. That means like dual PCs seems kind of meh.
It'll be tough with dual PC setups. Obviously, there's the other thing. If you like the physical faders and the buttons and everything like that, you don't get any of that with the Wave XLR. So the Go XLR Mini or the Go XLR is still a better option in that situation. And it's still doesn't have VSTs like the way the Go XLR and the Go XLR Mini have built-in noise gates, compression, EQ, things like that built into it. They are working on it, according to Harris Heller, everyone's favorite stream doctor. They are working on adding VST supports for, like I said, compression, noise gates, EQs into the software so that you can have all those things right there for you. But currently you don't have any of that. So my biggest problem with the Wave 3 mic, I do have that as well. I'm using a pod mic right now, XLR, is that because I had no gate functionality, I had to run it through noise gate program and then back into WaveLink. I had Mickey Mouse it basically, and it made it tough. So if they can add some gate functionality in the compressor and the EQ, I think for me personally, the Wave XLR and the software is a much better route. I think for me, because it frees up some space on the desk. Is the big thing, because the Wave XLR interface itself is so much smaller. I can get rid of the Go XLR Mini. I'd probably use the Stream Deck. I have your old Stream Deck Mini. I would use the Stream Deck Mini to function like the Go XLR with faders. I'd use it to, up and down volume on certain channels.
I was about to ask, so like, I know you have obviously the application from Elgato to adjust sound and stuff like that. Does their Wave XLR, that doesn't, you can't like change anything. You'd have to
do it
move
in the
everything
application
with your mouse.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can use
you can turn
to
general volume all the way up and down, but to do the different individual stuff, you would have to either do it on the computer or use a Stream Deck and set up buttons for volume up and down on different sources.
I mean, I get the point that it's smaller, but like I'm like a Go XLR Mini's like what, $200, and this thing's like what, $160. I feel like that's kind of a tough sell to me, that you can spend $40 extra and you can control everything right there. You don't have to be like over here, move your mouse the thing up and down or whatnot. But
so the big thing that
see how it forms, if it looks nice.
So the big thing that the Go XLR does not have is submixes. So the Wave app has submixes. So you have mixes. You can basically create mixes that can go to your headphones and mixes that can go to the stream. Actually, now that I think about it, Go XLR does have that.
Hey, they do have that. The routing,
right? Table.
Yeah, the old routing table.
Yeah. So so it's accomplishing the same thing, just in a different route. And some people, don't care about the faders and having the physical thing on their desk with all the different faders and buttons, and some people do. And so the people that do aren't going to like the Wave XLR.
Well, it's also just nice to have like Elgato, just have like all your streaming stuff kind of be one brand. Like the Stream Deck and your mic, if you have the Wave mic, and then the Wave XR will
You wouldn't
communicate
really
all
need
together.
the Wave XLR if you had the mic though, because the mic is USB. So the Wave XLR is being able to
Oh
bring
yeah,
your
true.
XLR mic. So like, but
I
yeah, so
assume they're probably
essentially
prepping for an XLR Elgato
they
mic
might,
then down the road.
yeah.
I think.
But I mean, essentially, you turn any XLR into a Wave mic at that point in time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the appeal of it. So I thought that was cool. I think it's a cool piece of tech. Like
It definitely looks slick. It
yeah,
looks very sleek and nice, and like I said,
and
smaller
like
for those people who need to clean up some space.
yeah, and like I'm fine. I'd be fine without the physical faders. Like if I 'cause I would use the Stream Deck to do up and down on different channels and things like that.
Yeah,
Like I think, and plus if you have an iPhone, you could do it on your phone. You could have a Stream Deck, the companion, on your phone too. So like there's a lot of ways to replace the physical faders. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting, and I think it's pretty cool piece of tech. And I figured we'd let you guys know about it.
yeah. I mean, Elgato does a lot of good stuff, and
Yeah.
I'd be interested to like now I think about it, would be interesting to see if they do come out with an XLR mic, what they can do, how
Yeah,
they can
well,
do it.
because
It'd be pretty cool.
the Wave mic was in conjunction, like the capsule was made by Lewitt, and Lewitt's a really well-known
Yeah.
microphone manufacturer. So, and the preamps and everything in the Wave XLR, I think, are all made by Lewitt as well. Thing's got 75 dB of gain, so even for like super hungry mics like the Shure SM7B and whatever, like you don't need the inline like cloud lifter for it. It should be more than enough, so that's pretty cool too. Just for those people who are out there who might have an SM7B looking at, I'm gonna need a cloud lifter still. Nah, I've seen the videos. You don't really. Cool. So that covers Tech Talk, and we're gonna segue into another little new segment we thought of that we thought would be
All
pretty
the
funny.
new stuff coming
Yeah.
at you.
New segments left and right. So I thought it'd be funny, if every time we do an episode, we kind of change off between people. So like I'll do it this week, Matt will do it the next episode we run. Basically, describing video games poorly and seeing if the other can guess what the video game we're talking about is. This one, I feel I picked it for a reason, and that reason will also become clear in the final segment. And so Matt might get this rather quickly. I feel like there's people that will. So if you're in the chat and you get it, just type it. It's kind of like a play along, but here we'll go. So basically, I have sentences like as clues. Like, I'll give you a sentence. It's a sentence that describes the game in a bad way, obviously, and see if you can get it. So the first sentence.
It's like truthful, but it's just like terribly
It's truthful, but it's
right.
Yeah, it's poorly described. Like,
Gotcha.
So the first sentence. You play this game in a fatherless world where the kids are forced into questionable animal research.
What in tarnation?
Fatherless world where kids are forced into questionable animal research. Ready for the next one?
Yes, I got nothing on that one.
You beat people and take their money.
I mean, is it as obvious as it's Warzone or?
No.
Okay.
Not that obvious. All right, we'll go to the next
Continue on.
one. Kids in this game travel more than even the most popular Instagram influencers.
This whole kid thing is just throwing me off. Like, what the fuck? A game with kids. Fatherless world. Beat people to take. Oh, Pokemon.
Yeah, there we go.
That was well done. Holy shit.
My next one.
Has like perfect descriptions, but just so wrong.
Exactly. So the next one was going to be half the NPCs you run into spend their whole life in the same spot. And then
you beat people and take their money.
And then, so I had like 3 or 4 more. I'm surprised. I was hoping to get a little bit further, but I figured you'd get it pretty quickly. The next one is your character grew up never knowing how to run, and it wasn't until they were gifted shoes that they figured it out. And then the the next one was you can use various, probably illegal substances to increase your fighting power. Like
True. We don't know if
like the carbs and all that stuff. Like
let's say we don't know if potions or carbs or
Yep.
X or all that stuff is legal or like steroids for your Pokemon.
And
Here,
the final one, which I didn't think we'd get this far, but if we did, it was basically a dead giveaway. It was like, you beat up wild animals with animals you've imprisoned under the guise of friendship. So
you've in prison. That's good. That's really well done.
yeah. So
The very first one was like, now that I think about it, the first one was like spot on, just a perfect description of the game. But
Yep.
I was like, what?
because you have no father, there's no fathers anywhere. There's hardly any parents anywhere, and the professor basically loops you in.
There's one where your dad's the gym leader, isn't he?
Something like
I can't
that.
remember
I
which
think,
one
yeah.
it is. There's one where he's like the 5th gym leader that you eventually go.
And then the professor, whether it's Oak or whatever, loops you in to doing animal research, research on the indigenous animals of the region. So,
shit, that's good.
So I thought that was pretty good.
So
and
I didn't know if like we're doing like one each, so I started like doing mine too. So I'll save that.
Yeah,
for
you
next
say
week, I guess,
yeah,
or
yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll save that for the next episode. Perfect. So that went well. I like that. That worked. New segment that worked pretty well. And so the final part is just like a little part we like to leave you with. We haven't really come up with a name for it yet. Basically, when talking with Matt about how do you want to structure the new episodes and things like that, and he was basically at the end, he's like, oh, and the last segment is where you do what you do best and just angrily rant about something. And I was like, I can do that. And so the reason I said that the guess that game ties into the rant is because I have been sucked back into Pokemon Go. And
tell me your thoughts, I guess, because I haven't. I've been kind of thinking about it, and I'm curious to see what you think. And then
my gripes with the game have held true from 2016 to now. Like, it's a fun game and it's somewhat addicting, like at the beginning, but then once you start, catching more Pokemon or wanting more Pokemon, you quickly realize that like unless you travel frequently or you go out of your way to go new places, you're just going to catch the same stupid Pidgeys and Rattatats that you've caught at every place you go to on a regular basis. And like, so that's like the big thing for me is like, I got back into it because one of my a couple of my friends at the Axe Throwing place were like, hey, we're doing it again. Like, I was like, all right, I'll re-download and take a look at it. And then, I got that first like shine of like, oh, there's new Pokemon that I haven't caught. And then as I'm going along, I was like, oh, Squirtles and Charmanders and Bulbasaurs and other starters are more plentiful. And you're like, oh, this is cool. And then as I played it for like the week, I just kind of like, by the end of the week, I'm like, it's literally the exact same reason why I didn't like it back then. Like I go to, and I go more different places now than I did back then because of my work. I have different clients, so I'm in different towns, and it's like I still just find all the same stupid shit. And it's like, it was great at first, and it weaned off pretty hard, and then towards the end, I was like, Friday, Saturday, I was like, God, this is so stupid. Like, why the fuck am I doing this again? But then yesterday was raid day. It was part of Go Fest, like Pokemon Go Fest 2021, and it was raid day. And I was a couple of the guys at Axe Throwing raided a bunch. And so like I caught 6 legendary Pokemon yesterday from 6 different raids. But that doesn't happen all that often. So the raids were like almost guaranteed to always have legendaries yesterday. And, the minute raid day was over, it was back to like Parasects and like stupid fucking Pokemon you would never want. And so like it was cool. It was like a glimmer of hope and like some fun stuff. And then it just got ripped away because you're like, oh, back to stupid stuff.
I guess they're sticking true though to like what Pokemon kind of is. You see mainly nothing, and then every now and then
dog shit. Like, but
hit it big.
The other problem
too, you're just actually out walking instead of like sitting there just going through the bush 500 times.
And the other problem I have with the game is like Pokemon show up and you're like, it shows up and you're like, oh, I kind of need this Pokemon, and it's a high CP Pokemon. You're like, oh, that would be so cool, and you catch it. You burn like 5-6 balls or whatever, catching the fucking thing, and then you appraise it because they have a new appraisal system. And it's like a 0-star. It's like 1200 CP fucking Scyther, and not that Scyther is good, in general in Pokemon Go, but it's like, oh, that's a pretty powerful Pokemon, and then you get it, because this actually happened to me, and it was like attack, HP, and defense were all fucking next to nothing, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Why? What did I waste? What did I waste these balls on and these berries on? If something's going to be stronger, like, numbers are the easiest way to show strength. If something's got a higher CP, the CP and the stats, like the appraisal, the 1, 2, 3 star, should align more directly. Like, if it's a high CP Pokemon, it generally should be like a better Pokemon in general with better stats, but it doesn't.
You also have to like spend a shit ton of money to keep playing this game. Like, my problem is I feel like
so you don't
I don't have any balls or anything to catch anything
Well,
with, and I'm not gonna go buy.
exactly.
I'm
And
not gonna
so
go pay money.
I think that was the big problem early on. There wasn't as many Pokestops, and now there are so many more Pokestops that, like, you can spin them a ton. You can spin a ton, and you can get balls from the Pokestops every time you spin them. And you can spin them more than once, obviously, a day.
Yeah, I'll have to, I guess, check my area. But that's my biggest gripe, is that I would run out of stuff, and then I guess I wouldn't be near enough Pokestops to get anything good. And I'm like, I'm not paying $10 every other week just to get Pokeballs for this game.
And
but
and then the final thing that like has just bothered me so much about it is just like, it goes hand in hand kind of with the CP, and it's like, just let me battle. Like, you had the perfect platform to make a mobile MMO-esque, like, Pokemon battle game with the hey, go catch things, like, mechanic. Like, you can still keep the catching, you can still keep, like, complete the Pokedex, like, we're sending you out on scientific research, but, like, just let me battle random Pokemon that I find to level my current Pokemon up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they could make some very small tweaks to, like, the CP system and just the encounters as a whole to let you power up your Pokemon. But that
so
would
you
also
still have to like burn.
I mean,
like,
say
other Pokemons you have, right, to get the CP higher of a certain one. Like, you got candy.
Yeah. You got to transfer them. It used to be called, I can't remember what it was called before, but yeah, you basically turn fucking Pokemon into candy.
Yeah, you like, crush them into candy. Like, here, eat this.
You feed fallen versions of the same Pokemon to itself. But yeah, so like, it's like, it's interesting enough.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, that's like another
fun
tough
enough,
stuff for me.
but it's just like you get into it.
One of the best Pokemon parts with Pokemon battles,
and it's like, so like,
I love battling.
Exactly, and so like, I've gotten back into it, but I've also realized over the past like week and a half, like, that's exactly why I stopped playing it in the first place. So
I had the same thing happen like a year, 2 years ago, maybe. One of my buddies like, yeah, I'm playing Pokemon Go a little bit. Like, you should try it out, because like, you could send gifts to each other. So he'd be like sending me gifts. So then I'd be like, all right, I want to return the favor. I'll send you some gifts so you get some Pokeball and shit like that. I played it for like maybe a week or so. Then I just got bored and tired of it. I'm like, nah, I'm done.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's I don't know if Frosty Sounds Off or Frost Blast, or I don't know, some sort of play on
Some
words.
form of like grinds my gear type of stuff. I don't know.
I'm Peter Griffin, and this grinds my gear. So yeah, so that's my anger topic for the week for this episode. So. And that's
valid points. All I can say is very valid points.
Yeah. So, and that's going to do it. That's the new episode format. That's the new episode. It's our first, like I said, first episode back, since April. So, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking around. I've checked the podcast downloads, and we've still had some people downloading episodes. So, I could half figured it would just be a stagnant, void of nothingness, but we've had some people downloading the episodes, which is cool. We haven't done anything on Twitter, obviously, in the last 4 months either. So, so we're back. Our triumphant return. New show format to an extent. We'll try to keep as much as we can keep this format going moving forward. So that's kind of something to look forward to. A little bit different than just hey, here's a bunch of shit happening, in the world of gaming.
I had fun doing that. That's good.
But yeah, otherwise, like I said, rate, subscribe, share on Podchaser or Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it might be. You can follow me personally if you want, J_FR Matt05TY. Matt, why don't you hit him with the socials as we have always done, and then we'll get the fuck out of here.
Let's see. Twitter, Technique, Instagram, Technique TV, TikTok, which is where we focus a lot of the attention is Technique. YouTube don't have URL, but you can just get to it, I guess, from any of my other pages. And finally, the coup de grace, the stream, twitch.tv/Technique, stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. I changed it up 6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Early
Rise and grind.
riser. Early riser.
Mhm.
How early do you have to get up for that shit? Get up at like 5:30? Or are you like right
5:40.
at?
Roll up, give myself 20 minutes while I'm bed.
Yeah.
Get after it.
Get after it. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for hanging out. Great first episode back. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the support. Hopefully you missed us. Even if you didn't, and this is the first time you're catching us, stick around. We're gonna have more content coming up. Like I said, every other week, new episodes. Every other Wednesday. The stream is every other Monday. New episodes probably more like every other Thursday on the podcast apps. Streams every other Monday. And like always, you can't spell win without W.